So, Leanne, going back to you, you've heard some very interesting views on science of learning. Also, quite, I would say, a bit at the end of a spectrum, I suppose. Whereas, Audity's organization is really ingrained in the use of it. And whereas Jim, former education minister and now in the House of Lords in the UK, is kind of grappling with, how do we deal with this from a policy perspective? So you, as a science of learning researcher, and very much embedded in the domain, which is vast. How do you kind of respond to this?
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, these are the challenges, right? And I'm thrilled to hear the perspectives that both Lord Knight and Aditi bring to this question. But I guess I'm going to frame it in the sense that this is actually not unique to education. The challenges that we have here, that academic research has been sort of, wrought to to engage, the way in which we engage it has this way of making what I'm going to call glass candy. We're challenged to come up with interesting, novel ways of putting things together and testing them in a rigorous, very repeatable way and publishing on it. And we release these things which are beautiful and inedible. And we really need, and this happens in health research, which I am also a health researcher in a different uh, flavor of what I do. We really need to. I loved hearing the co-design perspective, but we don't even have, shockingly, the evidence of how to engage the community effectively in order to make sure that these contexts that we're trying to ensure that these new innovations are working well in, and that the principles that we believe to be fairly, they're going to be the best practices for learning, generally speaking, from the science of learning, among the things that I was talking about: socially situated learning, active learning. How do you bring these into these different contexts in a way that is generating evidence that is consumable, right? And I think that this gets to Lord Knight's questions about, like, we can't talk to directly the policymakers because there's this sort of siloed nature to the way we do our research. And so changing that is a big deal. But I believe that the history of the Science of Learning Center, and G. Solon in particular, is really trying to make those efforts by engaging liaisons, by making sure that the people at the table, we have all stakeholders present. That is one way forward. There's actually a model in health research called the 7P framework for making sure that all of the stakeholders are present for trying to make innovation in health. But again, we need we need so much more research, and research on how to best do the research to get, you're going to hate this, Jim, how to get that transformative body of knowledge that actually is impactful and usable in policy. Hopefully that helps.